So the postman has been, and I can now install the Kiravans Double Seat Swivel base and get that all fitted in the van. There's Bud. Right, so the first thing you got to do is obviously get your seat out. I did this in the last video, so if you want to see how I did that, check that out. But basically you just open the seat out. You'll see these 8 bolts. Just get them off with a 16mm socket, and any leads that are on top here, they go underneath. There's a little recess there that they can go under. Also, it's worth checking when you've done that, when you put your leads under here, it's worth just double checking that all your lights, your rear lights work, because that's what those cables are for. So you don't want to put all this back down and then find out that it's not working. The next part, according to the instructions, these front 4 bolts, only the front 4, you need to trim off this bit here, so the bit that's unthreaded. So it won't affect the integrity of the bolt or anything, but with this little piece on top, the actual swivel base won't be able to turn. So you've got to get those off, and there's a couple of different ways of doing that. You can either take these bolts out, and if you do that, you're going to need a 22mm socket to get this whole bolt out. Put it in a vise and then saw it off. I'm going to do it in situ, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw the nut over the top, so it'll give me a guide as to where to cut. And also that way, when I'm using the hacksaw, if I sort of chiv this bolt up in any way, unscrewing this will re-thread that bolt, so it shouldn't cause any problems. So I'm going to get that done now. I'm going to use a hacksaw and just do that, yeah, in situ. So that's it. Just got to cut that little tiny piece off the top and do that on those front 4, and that's it. Not too bad. It's pretty easy with a hacksaw. You could use an angle grinder, but I'd rather never use an angle grinder ever again, so hacksaw is my chosen weapon of choice. This next step you don't really need to do, but I'm just going to file these so they're nice and smooth, because these are pretty sharp, as my knuckle found out just now. So I'm going to file these down so they're nice and smooth. So the next step is to then just sit the swivel base on top of those 8 bolts. It is heavy, so it's probably easier with 2 people, but I managed it by myself, so if I can do it, anyone can do it. And then you need to unscrew all of these, which I've already done, and these little pins will pop up, and you twist that across, because in order to bolt this down, we have to actually swivel the base to access some of the bolts, as you can see, because that wouldn't be, you wouldn't be able to get to that if that was where it was. So you have to swivel it to get these bolts back on, and for these you use the same ones you took off when you moved the seat. And then once this is securely fastened down, that ain't going nowhere, you then got to undo these new bolts, because these are what are going to hold the seat on top of this. So take all these off. Right, then you've got to lift the seat back on. That's not that easy by yourself, but it's doable. I found the best way to do it was to stand behind it and lock this out and sort of use that as a handle. Sit the back on first, they kind of just drop on, and then once those back ones are on, the top one will sit on nicely. So now I've just got to screw the bolts back onto these pieces, and that's it, it'll be done. Right, I've got it in. I've unscrewed the twisty bits that's loosened the base plate, and so now I'm going to try and turn it around. This is the first time I've tried this, so let's see how easy it is. Right, from the instructions it says you push it towards the steering wheel and then kind of keep rotating it with your right hand. So let's see how that works. Well, that was pretty straightforward. really opened up the cab space. Awesome. Oh, I'm really pleased with this. It's a great little bit of engineering, that. Really easy to fit. Didn't take me that long at all. And yeah, it just fits in. It's easy to move. It's great, and it's really going to improve the sort of layout that we can have in the van, especially for a short wheelbase. I think this is kind of a really important part of it. The reason I chose the Kiravans base plate in particular was it's been crash tested. It's not the cheapest, but you know, you can't put a price on safety.